Here we are again, another arriving at video. Brand new train, this one, Pendolino. We're just being held up at the light before we arrive at Euston. Yeah, but welcome back. Still putting far too much time into Train Sim World. I've not got into the latest update, if you want to call it an update. I suppose it is, because it's free if you've already got the original. But yeah, a couple of things I want to talk about. First of all, this station, I really believe this has to be the most soulless, dingy, kind of utilitarian and brutalist terminus in London. Never liked it. Obviously it can't compete with the grandeur of Paddington, but never mind. And also the Pendolino itself, it's worth looking into that. Obviously it's got that lean function, it's got that tilt function. But yeah, it's interesting looking at the history of the advanced passenger train and the research and development and the demise of that project. The tilt mechanism in the APT was far more aggressive than this. So yeah, and then obviously lots of that R&D went out into the wild, and then hence we ended up with this, which I believe these have all been refurbished recently. So yeah, not a bad stop. You always want to be kind of tiptoeing into a terminus. As you can see, I still don't have the special needs guide turned off on the track. You really do need to memorize some of the lines when it comes to stopping. Does that make sense? Does it make sense? I don't know. But yeah, so it is a good stop. Interestingly, no NPCs. It is eerily empty. So I don't know what that's all about. No one walking about. There's absolutely nobody about on this, which it can be done because, you know, other big stations have them and Paddington has them. But yeah, let's grab the Praktika 35mm, of course, and let's grab one for the album if we can. And we're going to get a nice shot here, hopefully, of both Pendolinos lined up. Yeah, we'll just get all this shut down. Let's try and work out how to get out. Also, there's a real kind of lack of collector bubbles in this station. For such a large station, I can't even work out how to get out of this thing. Yeah, my dad took me here when I was a kid. We used to visit all the major train stations. Because I was so young, I didn't realise that it had been electrified so early, and I was always disappointed and taken completely by surprise by the relative silence of this station in comparison to the smells and all the noise and high drama of Paddington, when you've got like class 50s and HSTs ticking over. But yeah, sensibilities have put all that to rest now, I suppose. So we need to be, is this going to do? Will it do? Yeah, not bad position either. So yeah, when I went there as a kid, my dad took me. It's quite a shock. So yeah, and never really been an electric fan. It's always been kind of, I don't know, what's my era? 1970s to the late 80s. That's kind of my era, especially when it comes to the modelling as well. So yeah, I wanted to also quickly talk about Xbox. I haven't been following it, and I try to avoid those clickbait videos, the end of Xbox, you know, the type of things. But yeah, I cannot get over what's happening at the moment. Um, I just find it unbelievable that essentially they're giving away all the family silver. Flight Sim is going to be, if it's not already, on the PS5 with also a VR option. The new Forza Horizon, Halo, it's absolutely shocking. The alarm bells for me started to ring when that handheld device also had Steam on it and they'd gone out to a third party. 10 years ago, 15 years ago, they would have not have done that. They would have created a piece of hardware from the ground up. This is a company that custom made its own remote control, a fantastic multimedia remote control for the 360. Yeah, I'm really, really quite shocked. I love Xbox. Since the 360, I wasn't there at the beginning. I was a PS2 person. Yeah, I can't see it being a brand. I can only see it being, not hardware in real terms. I can only see it being a subscription service across every conceivable device. And there's also the recent price increase. So I'm not on Game Pass anymore. I thought that was, as a percentage, it was ridiculous, the increase. To be honest with you, that's just my personal opinion. I know it's still good value if that's the way you game. And I don't really game like that. Not anymore. So I'm not getting my values worth. I'm certainly not letting a subscription tick over in the background month after month. And what really pisses me off is they've removed the discount facility now. So if you were signed up to Game Pass, I've had some great deals. Things like DLC for this, you'd get sometimes you'd get 40% off DLC. But now they're giving you these pathetic kind of, I don't know, merits, rewards that tie you into their own kind of ecosystem. I'm not into that. I mean, that's just stupid, absolutely stupid. It's a bit like those ridiculous Google adverts for their gaming. I mean, they do keep excuse me, they do keep flogging their dead horse, Google. Trying to think of what their last failed project was, but yeah, it's a shame. It really is a shame. I can't see them being in the hardware business too much longer. Maybe I'm going to be wrong, but the Series X, that's where I am. And then we've got the Series S. I've got one of those downstairs. Brilliant machine, the Series S, for what it is. Fantastic machine, like little tiny, tiny powerhouse. But yeah. So I've got one Game Pass account. I do pay for that for my grandson. But like I said, I turn my own one off. And as for the discounts on games and DLC, when you've got an active Game Pass, removing that for stupid reward systems, that's no value. That's no value at all. But guys, take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.